This is a story you never knew you needed to hear. I have a super special guest with an incredibly inspiring story that will change your life and help you leverage more money than ever before. You thought it was possible and easier. My real estate team has done $1.5 billion in transactions, and he does something I've never seen before that has all the transactions. In for a treat, welcome Gene Griffin, the founder of Summit Mortgage. Thank you for being here and have you had in this car.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Jordan. Honored to be here with you today, my friend.
Likewise, happy to have you here. So I kind of, broke down a little bit about who you are, how you're a crazy inspiring story, and how you do mortgage, but what more you want to add into that about who you are, what you've done to so far?
Well, I'll tell you, my story is connects with a lot of other people that have similar backgrounds. I grew up very modestly in Longview, Texas. I grew up in a trailer house, which in the mortgage industry, we call it a manufactured home. No, this was a trailer house, my friend. It was in the middle of the woods on like 20 acres of an area they call Big Woods. So very secluded. There were big houses around us, but very humble upbringings. My parents were wonderful people. This was in the day and age where dad punched the clock, and my dad punched a few clocks, worked about 2-3 jobs, went to school full time, and played music on the weekends. So mom held it down at the house, and yeah, that's where I come from. And I'd say that is something I always carry with me to motivate me to try to do better, to try to help others, and basically create my own future based on where I came from. Now we had all the love, clothes, everything we needed, and I wouldn't change how I was raised for anything.
Love that. I know, like, you've been featured in like Austin Home Magazine, one of the top titans inside the industry. Like, going from there to where you are now, what helped you get there? Was it GSD mindset? Like, what was that?
Well, it's one, we've been going through a tough market the past couple of years, right? I think a big catalyst to my success is not giving up, right? I remember in 2003, it was very tough on our end, and there were months where there was just no business. So I was working 10, 12-hour days, but not getting a paycheck for it, right? So during that time, I was, I'm fully transparent. I'm not too proud. I was putting on a Pizza Hut hat and delivering pizzas just to keep some cash coming in. I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, putting on an Amazon vest, delivering packages till 7, 8 in the morning, and then getting off and working a full mortgage day. And I remember in 2003, my wife, she has a successful business, and she was basically carrying the torch during this period, which, shout out to my wife for all her love and support and believing in me, but couldn't have done it without her.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got to a point where I was working hard, but not bringing in any money. And she was the breadwinner of the family. And it was one night we were sitting in bed. I remember she said, I don't know how much longer we can do this. And I sat there and I closed my eyes, and I've never had this feeling before, but it's not like my life flashed before my eyes, but all the work, all these things, waking up, putting on the Amazon vest, delivering pizzas, all these things that I was going through started flashing through my eyes. And it hit me, and I opened my eyes, and I just realized, like, I can't quit. I'm too far in. I'm too stubborn to quit. And if I quit now, it's that moment between knowing that you're going to be successful and never knowing, right? So just pushing through, staying productive every day, and continuing to always add value to our clients, our partners, our team members, and the communities that we respectably serve.
I love that. So have you always been that way, like super high self-belief, strong-willed, going after what you need to do? Like, were you that way as a kid, or did it happen later on? Like, what was that turning point for you if you have one?
So it's really, I've always kind of been like that. And it really stems from where I came from. I always used to talk about, I used to have the proverbial chip on my shoulder, not to prove anything to anybody else, but to prove something to the universe, or to prove it to myself that I can do and be whatever I want to be. If somebody else can do it, there's no reason I can't. Now that mindset shifted a little bit as I matured, because if you have a chip on your shoulder, that's kind of a negative outlook, right? So I shifted that to a positive outlook. It's no longer a negative drive, it's a positive drive.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I work hard. I know that I have integrity. I know that I provide an exceptional service and value. And if I don't let people know and I don't connect with people, they don't know that they need me.
Yeah.
Right. So really, it's just been a drive to make something and leave a positive impact on this universe, this planet, the state, whatever it may be.
I love that. It's super powerful. Like, I know you had a turning point when your wife was tell you, like, how much longer can we do this? Like, was that the only one you had for turning points, or before that as well?
I think it was daily turning points for a long time. You know, you had to wake up, strap on those boots, and just get after it. And you know, new people coming into my side of the industry, and even realtors, new realtors, it's so important. It's going to be tough in the beginning. It always is. But if you keep your eye on the prize and the big picture and you can make it through the tough times, you're going to be okay. Things do get easier, right? They never get to a point where you just stop and you're complacent and things just come to you. You always have to continue to push it forward. But the way I like to put it is, Jordan, I've been going 99 miles per hour for 3 years. I'm ready to ease back at a comfortable 85 mile per hour cruise control. I'm comfortable there, right? Because at the end of the day, 99 miles per hour a day, every day, is just not sustainable. Forever. You know, you've got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, I think 85 is still more than most people too, so that's still great.
Yeah. Well, and you've got to be calculated with your energy. Know when to take time for yourself. Know when to back off, right? Know when to recharge your batteries and make sure you're there for your family. Things like that are equally important.
Yeah, I cannot agree with you more. And like having the drive and really, if you keep on going, it will get better. Like for me, I was homeless as a kid until I was 18, off and on. And that belief is like, if I keep on going, if I don't quit, I will see the other side of this tunnel. Like you were saying for yourself, like you gotta keep moving forward one step at a time. And I'm kind of curious, like, you know, you was doing all these jobs from delivering pizza to doing Amazon and so forth. What got you into doing mortgages in the first place?
So funny, I have an interesting background. My dad's a classically trained musician.
Wow.
So I was raised with music my whole life. He played with all these Houston blues legends. I was raised in kind of the roots music background, always been a massive music fan and collector. If you know, I've got a pretty extensive vinyl collection, but I actually moved to Austin in the 2004, 2005, somewhere in there, to work in the music industry. So I started here. I ran a music or artist services management, PR, booking, production company, and that was a lot of fun, but it was hard to make a living there, right? So around that time, I had a baby on the way. I had to make some decisions, right? So I joined corporate America, worked in corporate America for a couple of years, was doing some pretty cool work, but not making a lot of money. I was flying to conferences in New York and Vegas, and it's only making about $35,000 a year. I'm like, wow, I'm managing $500 million worth of inventory, but so I had a decision to make, and a friend reached out. He said, hey, what do you think about becoming a loan officer or working in lending? It was extremely scary for me because it was 100% commission. I had this baby now, right? This family. And it was very intimidating. But this friend of mine, actually, we reconnected recently. And mind you, this was 16 years ago. We recently reconnected and we talked about this. And he said, Gene, I know you. I know how hard you work. I know that you're a smart guy. If you come into this job and you do a terrible job, you're going to double your income. I was like, sign me up. Let's go.
That's a good sales point.
So I got into lending, a completely different sector outside of mortgages. It was strictly auto refinancing, right? Not with dealerships, right? Dealerships are there to sell you a car and make money. Our job was to basically save you money, put you in a better interest rate, give you a more comfortable payment, so on and so forth. And when I got there, I was very intimidated, right? I didn't know a lot about credit at that time. I knew a little bit. I didn't know a lot about lending or how money flows. And I'm looking around the sales floor, right? And these ladies and gentlemen are just crushing it. And it was very intimidating. I was like, you know what though? I'll learn it in time. If I stay organized and I work harder than everybody else, I can be competitive. And then over time, the experience will come.
Yeah.
About 3 months in, things start to get a little more clear. 6 months in, you kind of feel like, okay, I feel comfortable in what I'm doing now. I'm feeling good in my position. And then I went on to be top 10 salespeople, top 5, top salesperson consistently. And then I started managing a team. Left lending for a little bit to try to pursue some other, options, see what else was out there. I was kind of burned out, honestly. So left and got roped right back into lending. Moved to Denver for a job in the same industry in auto refinancing. Left the industry again. COVID happened, came right back. And I got to the point where I'd refinanced over 7,000 auto loans, more than anybody in the country at that time. I don't know, somebody's maybe beat that. I was making good money, but I was like, I don't know how much, if I can make any more. I'm kind of capped out. I'm as efficient as I'm going to be, so on and so forth. I was turning down management positions because I'd take a pay cut. So I had a decision to make. What's next? I just sit here and be comfortable, which is not really, my approach to things, or do I look for something better? And I realized where I can make a small impact on a big group of people. Whereas in mortgages, I can make a massive impact on a smaller group of people. Now, how do we scale that to where we can make a massive impact on a massive amount of people? So that's where we are today.
I love that. Super inspiring. And what helped you go from, being totally brand new to the industry, new to sales, new to credit, to doing 7,000 different loan applications to people and so forth? What helped you do that kind of volume?
Tenacity.
Tenacity.
Straight up. My wife calls me Tenacious G, and I am, right? So I remember when I first got into mortgages, it was the tail end of the refinance boom during COVID. So things were great. Everybody was happy. Everybody's driving nice cars, at least in the lending side. And then rates started going up, and they didn't stop, right? I remember I was working at a retail mortgage bank at that time. It was my first mortgage job, and I'm sitting around and, I'm in a cubicle situation in the office, and I'm looking around. I'm seeing other loan officers with their feet kicked up on their phone on YouTube, just kind of waiting for that phone to ring. It only took me about 2 days to realize these phones are slowing down. These phones aren't ringing. But that doesn't mean that there's no business out there. There's business out there. I've just got to find it. I've got to go get it. So one of the first things I did was create what I call an EHP, an employee home ownership program. And what this is a way to get in front of employed potential prospects, right? So I would present this to CEOs or presidents or HR directors and say, look, I've built a concierge mortgage and real estate program package for your employees. This program doesn't cost you a penny. It helps with your retention of your employees. It provides an incredible service and value to your employees. We can answer any questions they may have. If they need credit work or whatever it may be, we can work on that. And people that have a mortgage typically hold on to their jobs, right? So great benefit to the employer. And on the other end, it's a direct audience of prospects for myself and whatever realtor partner I would approach that business with. So that kind of carried me through the very tough times, at least got me in front of some people, right? Things did not get much easier. Just kept pushing. I'm big on multiple irons in the fire, whether it be, so you got to have your social media. You got to be face to face. I always say, no matter what you look like, nothing beats your face in person, right? I talk about networking. When you go to a networking event, you don't have to connect with every single person. Find one person or two people you really connect with. Make sure you get their contact information. But here's the secret sauce. When you're engaging with that person or those people, speak about 2 notches louder than you normally do.
Yeah.
That way, 5 or 6 people around you might hear you. They hear your name, they hear what you're about, and you may pique their interest. And you may not get a chance to talk to them there, but the next networking event, you bump into them, they remember you. Oh yeah, I remember seeing you. We didn't get a chance to talk. Now you're engaging with that person 2 notches higher than normal, and you're reaching a new audience, right? So in our business, it's not a corporate ladder per se. It's more of a web, right? A network web. So continue to grow your network. If you're just sitting around at home waiting for business to come to you, it's not going to happen. You got to go get it, right?
That's super powerful. And use that microphone at all times, not just online, but also in person as well. It's an amazing strategy you have in place. And clearly, you're super tenacious, but also super creative. And what's your philosophy when it comes down to like solving challenging crises and problems with your mortgage offices and like people going for hard time getting loans in the residential sector or commercial sector?
Right. So the way I put it, I love it. So we put our business in 3 lanes, right? We do residential, investment, and commercial real estate lending. Residential is pretty straightforward, right? We help people buy homes, upgrade their homes or whatever it may be, and we're extremely passionate about that. I can tell you for myself, from where I come from, that means the world to me. If I can help a single parent get back in the home ownership game, or help a young family that they didn't think they could buy a home actually get into a home, that means the world to us. And then also on the residential side, outside of your in the box, FHA conventional, we have bank statement loans for self-employed people. We have I-10 loans for foreign nationals. One of my favorite that I recently did was a no income loan. I had a friend who has been caring for his mom for 2 years who had lung cancer. She unfortunately lost her battle with it. But he inherited a little bit of money. He sold her house, and his landlord offered him the option to buy the home he was renting for 10 years. Well, he hadn't worked in 2 years. He had no income, but he had enough money in the bank to buy the risk down and buy that home.
Wow.
Now, that interest rate was a little bit higher for sure, but when you're paying rent, you're paying 100% interest. So it's not that high, right? So, and then we'll work with him to get him approved for a more conventional loan, a more traditional mortgage, and get that interest rate down. So residential, pretty straightforward. Investment, I love it because it's a lot of strategizing, right? It's more of solving problems or achieving goals. It's usually what we do. We either solve people's problems or help them achieve their goals. It's kind of a blend in the investment side. I love it because it's different, right? My clients are my clients. I work for my clients. I don't work for any banks. These banks actually work for me and compete for my business. But on my investment clients, I definitely approach them more of we're partners. There has to be some transparency and honesty so that I can help you best serve you. But as far as the investment side goes, I love the strategizing, and I'll kind of come back and tie this all together. Commercial, we'll dive into that. We have an extremely game-changing commercial division. And when you look at these 3 lanes, residential, investment, commercial, some people may say you're doing too much. Jack of all trades, master of none. But I disagree. If you dive into it and you think about it in a complex way, sure. But when you take a step back and you realize real estate loans, that's all this is, all of them. And you understand how those loans work, you can do anything.
Yep.
And we have done everything. So I love it. It's never a dull day. There's peaks, there's valleys, there's successes, there's losses. It's never a loss if you're learning, though. That's the only L we take is a learn. But it's always changing. It's exciting, and I just love what we do. I love what I do.
I can see the passion. It's super, out there, super loud. I can tell you love what you do, and I think it's super inspiring. And like quote about, Jack of all trades to mastering one. I've heard that there's a second part to that quote. Well, it's like a Jack of all trade will often be a master on one.
Yeah.
Because it's so powerful to understand, having a lot of skill sets make you entrepreneurs. As an entrepreneur, our job is to be good at a lot of things, from sales, marketing, branding, loans, real estate, because that's what it takes to become a good entrepreneur. And for you, having, investments, residential, commercial loans, how do you kind of give your clients the best customer service when it comes to, managing all the different things you're doing?
Great question. So I often say this. I say the same things over and over because it's what I believe, right? It's authentic. So really, anytime I meet with a client, partner, anybody else, I say people talk about providing good service, right? Accessibility, communication, and follow through, doing what you say you're going to do. They think that's great service. To me, that is the baseline of service. If you're not doing those things, sorry to say, you're doing a terrible job.
Yeah.
If you're doing those three things, you're doing your job. Way to go. Way to do your job, right?
Mm-hmm.
We really strive to take it above and beyond, right? Give you an example. We're working with a realtor that's never worked with us before. They're giving us a shot, right? They're giving us a deal that they couldn't get done somewhere else to see what we can do with it. I teach my team, it's not all about if we can get the deal done or not. If we can, great. Guess what? You're the hero. Nobody else could do it. But it's about how you service it. It's about the care you put into that, knowing it's going to be challenging, right? I often say the most challenging deals we have are generally the people that need our help the most, right? So if a realtor gives me an opportunity, it's a very challenging deal. I'm going to go through everything. I'm going to turn over every single stone to make sure that we look at every option. If I have to go back to that realtor or that client and say, hey, sorry, we can't help you right now, this is why, we're going to create a plan to get them to where they want to be. It's never a no. It might be a not right now, but let's get you there, right? But I think that's the difference. I'll stay up. I'll lose sleep at night, Jordan, trying to find a solution. Because if I tell somebody not right now, I want to be definitively sure, right? Another part of that service goes back to just 101, being a professional, right? Staying organized, right? You may have noticed this in our correspondence. I don't have emails go unanswered for more than 15 minutes typically, unless I'm in a meeting or something.
Yeah.
When I look at my daughter's phone and she has 400 unanswered text messages, I lose it. I'm like, oh, I think I might have one right now. So I'm on top of my communications, right? But I think it's pretty simple, right? Just be on top of your business, right? This is a job.
It's a business, yeah. You gotta be honest every single day. You gotta service your clients. Real estate, mortgages is the biggest financial asset people do with every single day. You gotta make sure we have the highest level of customer service for that. And on that point, Jamie asked us, customer service is so much more than baseline service. What is something your team does that unique to you regarding your customer service?
That's a great question, Jamie. So I actually did this. I had 9:30 this morning. This is something I do that's a little different. And hey, any lenders out there, feel free to take a page out of my book. Most people, even myself, when I bought homes in the past, they're used to, well, what interest rate do you want? Tell them what interest rate you get that rate, whatever the cost is, right? Or here's an option with a low payment. Here's an option with a low rate. Which one works for you, right? The A-B close. What I actually do, and I've found this extremely powerful, is I have a client that is recently under contract, right? I'm competing with another lender. I'm aware of that. Not worried about that, right? I actually jump on a screen share with my client. We set an appointment. We do a virtual consultation. I do what I call pull back the curtain. I show them what I see on my end, full transparency, nothing hidden. So I'll show them the rate spread. So instead of offering them rate options, they literally see it, get to choose which rate they want based on the credit or the cost or whatever the case. We go through it. I give my advice, my 2 cents. That's so powerful because not only are they educated by actually visually getting to see what's behind the curtain, they get to actually choose their rate. They have an option of, maybe 12 different rates to choose from, but also it allows them to own their decision.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't make that decision for them. They saw it, they chose it. Right. And I think that's something that doesn't only help them today in this transaction, but they're going to carry that with them. They're going to understand how things work on future transactions, right? Speaking of transactions, we don't look at clients as dollar signs. We don't chase transactions, right? We are all about the relationship. We provide an A to Z and beyond service. And back to Jamie's question, A is initial consultation, right? No heavy lifting, just getting to know each other, understanding the goals and what they're looking to do. Z is at the closing table, which we actually attend as many closings as we possibly can with a gift, or sometimes they're expecting a baby. We'll show up with Costco diapers, usually something practical, right? But the important part is the beyond part, right? In the state of Texas, we have the homestead exemption.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know what to do. A lot of lenders collect their commission check and peace, right? Yep. Not us. I say, hey, if you get something in the mail, you're not sure what it is, 9 times out of 10, it's probably junk mail. Shoot me a picture of it, right? I check in 30 days after closing. How's the moving going? Are you settled? I check in 90 days after closing, making sure everything's good. When they're able to refinance, I let them know, hey, your clock to refinance is open. Rates are not really where they need to be to refinance, but just know you have that opportunity. I have a rate alert set up for you. I'll be keeping an eye on that for you. So little things like that go a mile, essentially.
Yeah, it's just so powerful. It's really go above and beyond. I think customer service, and for me, like doing a lot of luxury real estate, it's like luxury is not a price point; it is an experience. It's the feeling. It's giving them the whole that spectrum they need to feel taken care of and have that support they deserve.
The way I put it is, we provide a next level white glove service without a white glove cost.
Yeah, I love that.
Right.
Super powerful. And then like right now, people, we're in hyper supply, pretty close to recession coming up, at least single family homes. And getting loans, trying to get as much money as possible. You think it's hard now to do that? Is it hard to get commercial loans? Is it hard to get residential loans? What do you think on that?
I'd say it's relative to the individual, right? Our side of the business is very individual based, right? I think times are harder for a lot of people right now, right? We're at a point where we have more credit card debt than ever in the history, but we're also at a time where we have more equity in homes than ever before. Well, there's a narrative there. We should be able to tap into our equity to pay off some of this credit card debt, right? I did that recently for a family. They saved tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt. They had some medical issues they had to deal with. I was able to basically consolidate that debt, cut the interest in half, and free up $2,000 a month in overhead for them, right? They had put off family vacations. They had put off good Christmases, things like that. We were able to do this right at Christmas last year, right after. And I told them, take a breath. Go do something with your family that you've put off, right? Because the memories are what matter. Enjoy the money, then take care of your business and get back after it, right? So I think it is hard for a lot of people. There's no doubt about it, right? But we're always here to help people understand, guide them, and really do what we can on our end to make things as easy as possible and affordable as we can on our end. We charge a slightly lower commission right now than we normally would, just to be competitive, right? We don't price gouge people or anything like that. That's, in fact, we don't even bring people onto our team unless they have a servant heart, right? That's really one of our values and principles, having a servant heart.
Yeah, I think being a servant leader, having a servant heart is so imperative, especially right now in this like crisis we're all going through our marketplace. And I know when it comes to people on the fence about buying or selling, I think this is probably the best time to probably speak to, Gene, about loans and so forth. There's an opportunity right now. My client, he helped us get a HELOC to buy another house. Because right now, buying homes, especially, is the best time ever. One of my clients saved $362,000 for help a few months ago in this market. So you kind of have to save a lot of money and have a bigger impact. And, hopefully talk to Gene about that as well. This is the time to do that. And for you, what is different from residential loans versus commercial loans?
Big difference, night and day, right? So different types of documents. The way I put it is, if I'm going to use this book as a prop, right? If you imagine a roof, this is a roof, right? And there's something that has to hold this roof up, no matter what kind of roof it is, whether it's a commercial building or, I was going to say this is a good one right here. If you folks have out there, especially in leadership, haven't read this book, The Go-Giver, it's phenomenal. This book basically put what I had up here on paper, right? Anyways, so back to the roof scenario. Something's got to hold that roof up. Imagine 3 pillars, right? One is credit. On residential, that's a little more important than it is on commercial, right? And when I say important, we're talking about score. It's not just about the credit score. It's about what makes up the credit score. Bankruptcies, late payments, derogatories, those are going to hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got income. Where's my money coming from? Where's my income coming from? What can we use? What's the calculation? And then we have assets, fancy way of putting into words, cash in the bank, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, very similar with commercial. It's the same with any really loan, right? In commercial, credit's not as important, the score, but if you have bankruptcies, foreclosures, that's going to be important. That's what they're looking at, right?
Yeah.
Because investors, they expect to leverage debt and equity, which impacts your credit score, right? You have a lot of debt, your credit score is going to be low.
Mm-hmm.
They're okay with that, right? As long as there's no massive derogatories, right?
Yeah.
When we talk about income on a residential, that's either your business or your job. Well, in commercial, we're looking at the performance of that property. If it's an investment property you're charging rent on, or the performance of that business, if it's something you're going to occupy, right? For example, right now we're working on an event space. So we need to see the financials from the seller of that business to determine the income, right? And then assets, cash in the bank, still cash in the bank, right? That really doesn't change. So there's a big difference. It's a different ball game, but with our commercial division, we have we take an educational approach, right? And our commercial division is by far going to set the new standard.
That's incredible. Yeah, I think having full transparency, kind of like being super educated, being go-giver, client-focused, helping them through the whole process is so key. And obviously, you do it the best out there. You're one of the world's greatest lender and loan officers in the world. So thank you for being here. And then for those who are watching us right now, make sure you ask some questions down below. What questions do you have for Gene and for ourselves? We're here for you guys. And on that point as well, make sure you subscribe, like that, and tag your friends as well. Tell your friends too. Get more value from us going forward. Now, biggest question for you though is, what do you think is the biggest misconception people have about accessing loan and getting funding and so forth?
I love that. So I always say, if I'm in a meeting or something like that, I always say the general public. So I am a mortgage broker. That means I don't work for any bank. I'm independent and I have access to wholesale lenders. Wholesale, like we'll use HEB, right? Farmers wholesale their produce to HEB. HEB puts their markup on it. Everybody gets nice, shiny, beautiful apples, right? We work very similar, right? We get wholesale rates. We put our markup on it so we can feed our families, maybe put some in retirement, health insurance, things like that. But we're extremely competitive, right? Now, if you ask the general public, what's the difference between getting my loan at Bank of America, Rocket Mortgage, or working with a mortgage broker, they're not going to know. Most people just don't know, and that's okay. Bank of America, again, just using them as an example, their loan officers aren't even required to have the same licensing that I do. The way that the federal government sees it is that Bank of America holds a securities SEC license, and that's good enough that they're going to do the right thing. I think that's crazy to me, but it is what it is. Rocket Mortgage, not knocking them, but they're just a different one, right? Everybody knows them. They're a household name, right? They are a mortgage bank. They have licensed loan officers, same license as I do, right? Right back here, sitting in cubicles, taking orders. To me, those are just order takers. Yeah. If Rocket doesn't want to do the loan or they don't have the program or product, sorry, they can't help you. And I used to sit in that seat. Mortgage brokers, in my opinion, are best for the consumer. And it's not just my opinion. Studies show that by working with a mortgage broker, the average consumer saves about $10,600 per transaction. Pretty significant. Yeah. Not only that, we're dealing with all kinds of different scenarios and loan programs. So, this is my forte, my area, but I do think that mortgage brokers are way more experienced. They're next level professionals, right? So one thing that we're looking to do, our vision, our mission, is to do what no other mortgage brokerage team or operation has done and become the first mortgage brokerage or mortgage brokerage operation to become a household name. Nobody's done it, right? That's because mortgage brokerages generally don't market direct to the consumer. I think that's just opportunity, and we're going to capitalize on that.
I love that. And I have no doubt you'll be the biggest household name in the industry before you know it. Just talking the past couple of days alone. And obviously you're so big on emphasizing and making more value for agents and for yourself and for clients and for your team as well. What are some strategies you use and tools help you achieve that even more?
So we leverage a lot of technology on the back end, right? We leverage AI technology, industry specific AI technology. I'm also working on developing some technology specific to the mortgage industry to streamline our process on the back end. The thing is, my operation will never be a robotic operation, meaning my clients and partners are never going to be chatting with a robot. What we do is we leverage the technology to make us more efficient and effective on the back end so that we can spend that face-to-face time on the front end with our clients and partners, right? So that's one thing we're doing. Really, we're always going to do right by our client. One of the things that I talk about, anytime I meet somebody, I send out an initial email. It's my sales pitch in an email, right? Whether it's a client or a realtor, I believe I sent it to you, Jordan.
Yep.
The last bullet point on that is a very vulnerable one. It says, I'm human, right? I'm not perfect. We strive for perfection. We work hard not to make mistakes, but you know what? Sometimes we do make mistakes. The difference is what we do when we make a mistake. One, accountability. Hey, sorry, I made a mistake here. If there's a cost behind that mistake, we're going to eat it.
Yeah.
Right. And trust me, I've eaten thousands of dollars worth of mistakes. But here's the thing. If you start paying for mistakes financially, you learn real fast. You stop making them, right? So again, that's not a loss. That's a learn opportunity, right? The L's a learn, not a loss. So we're constantly trying to get better. We're constantly getting better and improving. And I think, our Google reviews, we have nothing but 5-star reviews, which is something we're extremely proud of. But something that really sticks out on that is that's not just from clients. Those 5-star reviews are from realtors, title companies, even underwriters and lenders that we work with. Anybody that we come into contact with within the industry, even our clients, we're getting 5-star reviews across the board. That speaks volumes. We hope to maintain that 5-star as long as we can.
No doubt about it. I think testimonials, 5-star reviews is like the ultimate billboard. Like, hey, we can help you. Help other people just like you do the same exact thing. You can trust us because I can say we're the best in the world. For clients say that, that's the big difference.
Right. Or a client and a partner.
Yeah, and partner. Right?
Yeah. And for every transaction we do, I aim for 3 5-star reviews. Right. If I was doing a transaction with you, Jordan, I would expect, if I deliver what, I expect to get a 5-star review from my client, you as the buyer's agent, maybe the seller's agent, maybe the title company, right? 2 to 3 5-star reviews for every transaction.
I love that. I think it's so true. Again, my 5-star helped my client just now get a HELOC. So super grateful for that. And so see, can actually buy a house, start building a portfolio. Because right now, this is a buyer's market. This is the best time to do so. And I know you have a preferred lender program. How does that help buyers, get the best results? What does that do exactly for them?
Back to what we were talking about getting creative and finding the business. This all kind of stemmed from, I lost some deals to some of these I call them big box builders, right? There's companies out there, I'll throw some names out there, Lennar, D.R. Horton, right? These companies build more homes in America than just about anybody else. They're in the top 10, right? There's several Pulte, things like, different companies like that. And what they do is some of these companies not only own the construction, they also own the title company and the mortgage company. So what they're able to do, they have different tactics of what they do, but we're just going to focus on the positive, right? What they do is they shave off a little bit from each one of those areas, and they're able to offer incentives that no other lender can compete with. That's the 9 out of 10. That's the one lender I can't compete with. So I lost a couple deals. The first one I lost, I was upset. I was heartbroken. Been working with this family for months, didn't get it done. The second one I lost was my best friend, also heartbroken. He was getting absolutely terrible service, but at the end of the day, the incentives were the incentives. They were fantastic. And then the third one I lost, I took a step back. I said, I take the approach of, look, I would love to compete with that. I can't, right? I'd be a bad mortgage advisor if I didn't tell you to take advantage of that.
Mm.
That being said, your service may not be the best. So I'm still your advisor, although I'm not your loan officer on this transaction.
Yeah.
If you want me to review any of those documents, answer any questions you may have, if you're not able to get in touch with your loan officer, reach out. I'm happy to help. And we didn't get this one, but I'll tell you what, we can make it up on a referral. So if you know anybody out there, send them my way, right? So I took that and I said, okay, how do I compete with this one lender that I can't compete with, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a correspondence program. So it allows us to create preferred lender programs where we can actually give lender credits or commission discounts for specific groups of people, as long as we're not discriminating, which we don't, towards any protected classes. For example, we do a hero program, right? I call it the hero class, right? Police officers, firefighters, EMS, anybody in the medical field, teachers, those to me are true heroes. We actually give lender credits based on the loan amount that they can use to buy the rate down or to use towards their closing costs. That's our way of saying thanks, because we have the opportunity to. We want to support those people, right? We don't do that job. I wouldn't sign up for that. I do this. So more power to them. We also do what I call the Rate Reprieve Refinance Program. That's a mouthful. But Jordan, let's say you bought a house with me today. Rates are a little bit higher than we want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to discount my commission to get it done. When it comes time to refinance, I say, hey, we'll actually give you up to a $3,000 lender credit on that refinance, right? Yes, it's a separate transaction, but that's our way of saying thanks for trusting us when the rates were higher. Now the rates are lower. As promised, we're going to get you in that lower rate. Again, that's up to $3,000. It's based on the loan amount. We have to have enough meat on the bone to add, and that's money right off of our tables onto yours, right?
It's definitely the go giver mindset right there. How can you help more people? How can you be creative, make that happen as well, and not just follow suit at the big boxes you're talking about. Who's this is what we do. They can't deviate from the path. This is what we do only. So I'm happy you do that because a lot of people need that, especially right now. And speaking of obstacles, last time we spoke, you were quite vocal. You said you talked to almost every single senator across America about the Texas 50A6 law. Can you kind of explain more what that is for people?
Yeah, most people have no idea what this is. You don't know unless you come up against it. So long story short, Texas historically, we'll kind of fast track this, but you used to not be able to tap into your equity in the state of Texas, right? Back in the 90s, they did change that. They changed that law. They opened it up where you could do cash out refinances, HELOCs, things like that. But they imposed, I want to say 2004, they imposed a law called the Texas 50A6 law. This is written into the Texas Constitution. They call it the Texas Homeowner Equity Law. I call it the Texas Homeowner Handcuff Equity Law, right? What this law does, it's a prime example of great intentions, poor execution by the government, right? They clearly didn't talk to anybody in the industry about this law before they passed it. The good parts of the law is it puts a cap on origination points, meaning it caps erroneous fees lenders charge or used to charge, right? This was before the housing market crash. But it capped it at 3%. In 2017, they dropped it to 2%, which in this market is causing some issues, but hey, whatever, we can work with that. But one of the biggest problems it causes is, Jordan, let's say you did a cash out refinance when the rates were low during COVID, right? You're sitting pretty at a 2.9% interest rate. When you did a cash out refinance, that puts your home into an A6 status, right? So let's fast forward to today, 5 years later. You're like, you know what? I would love to take a HELOC out and maybe invest into an investment property, or maybe I want to consolidate some debt, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Right. It's your equity. It's your money. You want to tap into it and use it. Right. This law prevents you from doing that. The only way you would be able to tap into that equity and get cash out is if you pay off that first loan at 2.9%, pay closing costs for a cash out refinance, which could be anywhere from $12,000, $10,000 to $15,000, maybe more in closing costs. And then now you're sitting at a higher payment, higher interest rate. It doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
right? I always used to make the joke, one day I'm going to make a bunch of money and I'm going to get this law changed. I had clients that were personally affected by this law in the recent, past 3 months, and that was enough for me. I pulled an all-nighter. I crafted a very eloquent email. I emailed every Texas legislator and senator, and I told them we've got to do something about this. I got a lot of attention. I've got the backing of the Broker Action Coalition, which is a lobby group for my industry. And we are going to put some things together, present some common sense changes to this law to help Texas homeowners and future Texas homeowners tap into their equity if and when they need to.
That's amazing. So what's the progress so far of that? What's the next steps on that?
Right now, we basically assembled the team that we're gonna have to approach this. We call it the two-headed dog approach. So we've assembled the team. We're doing a very in-depth analysis of this law. Again, we're not trying to completely repeal the law. There's good aspects to it. So we want to highlight the good aspects, and we want to present changes to the things that we think hurt Texas homeowners, right?
Yeah.
So we're going through that process right now, determining what changes do we want to make, right? Then we'll put together a pitch deck. We'll start getting in front of staffers, which we've already been in communication with a lot of legislator and state senator staffers, and then we present it. I don't think we'll make this legislative meeting, but probably the next go around we'll be looking to get something presented on the floor. It's politics, y'all. Everybody I've talked to, the first thing they ask is, what's the opposition? I'm like, who cares? This is bad for everybody, right? Yeah. But we got to play the game.
Yeah, it's the game. And Matt Tracy said I've been with the same exact thing. So I see it all the time as well. The client, her house is worth like $2 million, about to sell it pretty soon. And she has so much equity she's going to pull out now to invest and pay off debt and stuff. She can't because of that law. So hopefully before long, that is fixed. And thinking of the future, right? Like, what's your plans now for like your team and like your goals for 2025?
Wow. So we've got some big plans and big goals. Some of them are we're going to tease. We're not going to come out and say it just yet. But the biggest thing that right now, one, we're still focusing on every aspect, every client within our business, but our commercial division is something next level. So we, the average mortgage broker can do commercial real estate transactions, but they're very limited. It's either private money or hard money, which have their time, there's specific needs for private money, hard money, but usually their rates are higher, their fees are more, it's a higher cost. Or they can do SBA loans, small business administration loans, which are great, but there's very strict stipulations on SBA loans. You have to occupy that property with your business, at least 51% of it. So if you don't fit in that box, it's not an option. We have secured a strategic partnership where we can broker commercial loans like we do with residential loans to regional and national banks, Bank of America, Regions Bank, credit unions, local credit unions all over the country, commercial mortgage-backed securities, debt funds, life funds for multifamily, Fannie and Freddie, SBA loans, and private money, hard money. So what we've been able to do is really change the game in commercial. So now, we're in a gatekeeper position where I have mortgage brokers that do what we do on the residential side, sending me their business all day long because we can do what they can't. Their clients get great terms, great value. They get paid out a referral fee, no RESPA regulations, totally legit. We make some money, everybody wins. So now they have a new revenue stream, right? Instead of spending 3 weeks to try to find a private lender that may or may not pan out, or the terms might be embarrassing, now they have an actual revenue stream where they can bring this business to a trusted partner. We'll knock it out of the park. Everybody wins. We all celebrate and pop bottles, right? So in 2025, we are looking to take our operation to the next level. We are going to go, there's some secrets there, but we're actively looking to launch something here in the coming, or really this quarter. So I'll say less, but if there's any investors out there interested in what we're doing, find me, let's talk. I've got something extremely special that we're working on that I think will be quite fruitful.
Yep. I've already heard about it a couple days ago, and I will say it will change the industry as we know it, especially you as investors and home buyers too. So make sure you talk to Gene as fast as possible about that before there's just way too much demand for it, because we'll have huge surplus, inbound messages towards him. And speaking of the future, like where do you see the mortgage industry going and evolving next 5-10 years from now?
Kind of going back to what I said, I think there's going to be a lot of automation, a lot of AI. If you're not using AI now, you're already behind, right? And I don't think my job will ever be replaced. Look, people's jobs, they might be replaced, but somebody's going to have to operate this AI, right? Somebody's going to have to tell it when it makes a mistake. So adopting the technology is very crucial. And learning how to implement it into your day to day. I think there's going to be a lot of professionals in my side of the business that are going to be catching on. Our goal is to be the forefront, right? Adopting this technology early, developing it in every which way possible to make the back end of our business streamlined and just better, right? Yeah. That way we can get back to, well, not we do a good job, but that way we can provide exceptional face-to-face service, right? So I do think there's going to be changes. I think there's going to be definitely automation. We're already seeing some really incredible things, technology-based on our side in the mortgage space. But I think, I think the people that adopt the technology and the AI, they're going to be able to reclaim some more of their personal time.
Yeah.
Or they're going to be able to do more, right? Those that don't are going to be working in circles.
I could not agree you more. Like adapting and evolving like humans do. From having fire to having electricity to having cars to having now Wi-Fi. Like that is all about adapting and evolving, and our whole business model has to change what we're left behind as well. I know, crazy story. The number one home sold on Sandbox. Sandbox is a virtual VR place. $4.3 million.
That's crazy.
Let that sink in. $4.3 million for a digital house. Not a real house you can touch. Spent real money to buy that. And I think what Gene's saying about, adapting to AI, to VR is so crucial in the next 5-10 years, because soon I don't think we will know reality versus virtual reality. And people are doing a lot more business in the asset places as well. So I think it's super important on that. And then it's kind of backstep for you. You have a really crazy story, growing up in a troubled home, and so forth. Like, what lessons do you take from back then, your childhood, to where you are now?
Stay humble, right? All this stuff can be taken away from us at any given moment, right? I talked about working for Pizza Hut and working for Amazon. You can't see it, but over here in the corner is that Pizza Hut hat and that Amazon vest to constantly remind me what it took to get here, to constantly remind me where I came from. On the outside, in this current day society and social media, people only see the positive, right? It looks like everybody's crushing it on social media, but that's just not the reality, right? I've got debt. I've got stresses, right? I think gratitude goes far, right? Reminding yourself, look around. We have monthly or semi-monthly financial talk with my wife. We got more debt than we want, but I'm building a business, right? And then we talked to somebody, a friend of ours, that's basically got $600 a month to live on after bills. And I told my wife, I was like, let that sink in, right? Look around at what we have.
Yeah.
We're okay. And we're going to be okay, right? And, just be grateful for what you have. I'll tell you, one thing I do when I'm having a very challenging time and I feel like, man, the universe is testing me right now, or things aren't going my way. They don't always, right? What I'll do is I'll go into my Google Calendar. I'll journal about it. I love to write. I'll journal about it. I'll put what I'm going through, what the challenges are up ahead of me or in my face, and I'll set that calendar reminder for 1 year from that date. So from 1 year, from the date that I journaled that, it'll pop up. and it'll remind me of where I was a year ago and where I stand that day.
I love that.
It hasn't, not once have I still been facing the same challenges. Always, those are in the rear view mirror now,
Yeah.
right? So just be grateful, and nothing beats heart and hustle, right? Have a good heart and hustle. If you do those things and you do it every day, you're gonna be all right.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and I think that for that exercise you do is so powerful. I'm gonna start doing it myself. I don't do that. What I do a lot of times, I have a thing called a self manifesto, or the SBA, which is See, Believe, Achieve. This is like 17 pages of like my vision boards, my affirmations, where I came from, where I'm at now. But again, like I used to be homeless. I have to have no money now. Obviously, I'm doing pretty well right now, but that could all be taken away, like Gene was saying, any day from now. And I think it's so important to remember your roots, to be humble, to have a good camera if it ever comes back for me, and really kind of stay in the present and have that go-giver mindset. And for those who obviously will watch this and fall in love with who you are, Gene, how can they find you?
I'm pretty active on Instagram at Gene Griffin Mortgage, GeneGriffin Mortgage, Mortgage. I'm on Facebook. Facebook's pretty hopping for real estate stuff. But here's the thing, you're not going to find overly polished and overproduced videos from me. You're not going to see me singing and dancing, looking like a clown. Not knocking those that do that, but I'm always going to hit you with truth and education and how things actually work on my socials, right? And that's by design. I could spend a ton of money polishing my videos and this and that, but what's important to me is the message. And also, I never want to get in a situation where I'm putting myself up on a pedestal away from the general public. I'm just a guy like anybody else. I'm just a person. I just do this business, and I do this well. I'm not a plumber. I'm not an electrician. I can't do that. So I never want to be in a situation where I'm not approachable, right? I'm an open book. I'm transparent. You can reach out to me. I'm going to communicate, right? I only use one phone number, and that's my cell phone, right? Yeah.
Although that is so rare nowadays to find people who are authentic and transparent, especially now with social media. Everyone is super successful, super rich. Like on social media, it's a highlight reel, like you were saying. No one is going to be what that really is. And having someone like you who's super transparent and open about that, I think it's such a breath of fresh air people need to see. So definitely follow Gene because he is the best.
Appreciate that.
Well, of course. And then if there's one key takeaway from the listeners today, what would that be for them?
For listeners today, okay, so pretty broad audience. So we'll break it up to professionals and maybe home people looking to buy homes. For people looking to buy homes, look, if you're a first-time home buyer, you have this dream of home ownership, right? I do this because the dream sits in that cartoon bubble above our heads we've all seen.
Yep.
Pop that bubble, get with a professional like myself or anybody on my team, and turn that dream into a goal. A goal is something tangible we can work with. And the goal has 3 parts. Where are we at today? Where do we want to be? And how the heck do we get there? Figure out where you're at today by talking with a professional like myself, right? Then we can create the path and give you the map, so to speak, to achieve your goals, right? We can't fix your credit for you. We can't do the actual work, although we do have internal credit repair. We can help you, but we can't do the work for you. We can't put money in your account, but we can guide you and support you. You have to do the work, right? So if you don't talk with a professional and you don't find out where you are, you're just stuck in the middle of the woods without a map, and you'll probably see, right? On the professional side, the key takeaway is work with a servant heart, but also the heart of a champion. As Rudy Tomjanovich said, this business will knock you down. Any business will. A champion will get back up, right? So be servant-hearted, focus on helping people and solving their problems, have the heart of a champion to get back up after you get knocked down, and then have hustle. That's pretty straightforward. Do something every single day to push your business forward. If you're on vacation, that's fine. Enjoy your vacation. At least respond to the emails that came in. Do maintenance. That's pushing your business forward, right? What's beautiful about 2025 is, hey, for most people in this industry, you can work wherever you are. Now, obviously, showing houses, things like that, you got to do that. But I took a cruise to Croatia on a yacht with my wife last year. Mind you, she's a travel advisor, so we get the hookup. We're not just cruising yachts all the time. But I was working on the yacht the whole time. I took a Zoom meeting at 1 a.m. in the morning with a castle in the background. It's crazy what we can do these days, but hustle.
I love that. And I think like Jim Rohn says this so well as well, like you do. It's like, help enough people in the world solve their problems, and all your problems would go away.
Yeah.
All solve problems.
I saw that we have a comment from Matt Tracy about, I think he ran into an issue with the Texas 50A6 law.
Yep.
Matt, I would love to connect with you on this. I'm gathering witness statements on people who have been affected by this. These are going to be extremely powerful. So I'd be happy to connect with you after if you'd like. We could discuss this or maybe a solution. I'm not sure if this is for you personally or a client, but either way.
Love it. Definitely reach out to him, Matt, to have the expert support you need. And my favorite question, at least one of them, if you can give one piece of advice, one message, one cliff note, one keynote speech right now to the whole entire world, what would that be?
I saw this question earlier. If you it's a similar question. If you could go back and do anything different or tell your younger self something different. I get super excited when I see clients or people in their 20s buying homes, right? If I would have bought my first home in my 20s, that tees me up to retire by 55, 65.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we end up doing like our parents did, most of our parents, and work till you can't, right? So I would say buy some piece of real estate. Doesn't have to be your forever home, right? Most people don't realize first-time home buyers, they are investing in real estate.
Yep.
When you buy a house, it's no different than putting money in a 401k, other than it's just a different investment vehicle, right? So feed your 401k, buy a home. It will appreciate over time, right?
Yep.
Then you can leverage the equity to upgrade that home, right? Now you've got a rental and you've got a better home. And you play that game. You work with good professionals like Jordan and myself. We'll guide you. We'll get you there, right? But buy a home early. That's just my 2 cents.
I love that. I think real estate, obviously, I'm a little biased, is the best investment in the world because it has so many different options for you for appreciation, depreciation, whole 9 yards, cash flow. And for first-time home buyers, it's 3.5% down. So it's one of the easiest ways to get into real estate. Definitely take Gene's advice on that. If you need help, let him know, let us know. Happy help for the whole process. And Gene, thank you so much for being on this podcast today, Elite Ed. This has been a super big treat for us. Those listening to the call, I have no doubt about it.
Man, thank you so much, Jordan. You're a true professional and a voice of the industry and for the people. And I appreciate the opportunity to come out here and be a voice with you.
Yeah, happy to have you here. Definitely do this again in the future. Any last message you want to add before we hop off?
Let's see. My operation is Summit Mortgage Solutions. We're powered by Barrett Financial Group, one of the top 5 brokerages in the nation. Keep an eye out on my social media. We're going to be making some pretty massive announcement soon. And we'll be in an area near you soon as well.
Super excited for you, Gene. Thanks again for being here. Again, guys, this is Elite Edge podcast where top players become world class, like Gene himself. Again, thanks for being here. Have the best day yet, and we'll see you guys in the next one every Monday and Friday at 11 o'clock CST. Have the best day yet.